Hi guys, in this episode of Plumbing Thoughts On, I'm gonna be sharing my thoughts to the 23rd episode of the 11th and final season of one of my favorite shows ever, The Walking Dead. And since this is the penultimate episode of the show, I kind of just want to quickly summarize certain things that I want to say about this whole season. Because overall, it's kind of been a little bit of a disappointment. I don't think it's necessarily a bad season. I definitely think I would have a more generous opinion of it and I would find it more enjoyable if I was watching it in a binge manner rather than weekly, and especially when it's split in three parts. But it's definitely not been a season that feels like a final season. And I'm not the only one who feels like that, but at least I don't go out of my way to fucking say that the show sucks and the final season sucks and AMC fucking suck because the final season is not necessarily as good as it should have been. Yeah, it feels more like a typical season, but I don't think necessarily that's that bad. Like, at the end of the day, the show never really said that it was going to be this epic final season where it was going to be wrapping up all the storylines of all the characters and everything. In fact, the spin-off's existence kind of basically tells you the opposite. So I feel like it's kind of unfair to criticize it for not feeling as epic of a final season as it should have been. I agree that I was looking for as well. I as well was looking for something more along the lines of what we had with season 9, where every single episode felt like it was moving the characters' stories and was developing the plot and everything. It was a great season, and I was looking for something more like that, but that's not what we really got in this final season. But my biggest criticism for this final season is not really that. I've kind of gotten over that fact at this point. And I'm gonna go over it even more when I'm re-watching it, maybe even for the channel in the future. But more so, my criticism is that I feel like this final season doesn't have as much substance for one reason or another. And I don't think you can argue that it's COVID or whatever, because as bad as some people might say the 10C episodes were, those episodes had substance to them, quite a lot. And that's kind of what I was looking forward to have in the final 11th season. But we really didn't get that. And I wonder whether it's because of what people criticized about those episodes and calling them bad or whatever. But that's kind of what I was looking for in this final season, because I wanted more character development and more philosophical stuff, like what we got in the Gabriel and Aaron episode or in the Daryl and Leah episode. I really enjoyed those, or even the Negan episode, but we really didn't get much of that. We just got action. The 11th and final season of The Walking Dead is probably the most action-packed, but the thing is, because we don't really have much substance, I don't really give too much shit about the action. And the reason why I'm saying all of this is because this episode was good. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining, it was fast-paced, it was high-octane action, but it was still lacking in that fucking substance, and it bothered me because I wanted to be over the fucking moon about this episode, but I was like, oh, okay, that was actually pretty fun, but we didn't really get as much of this as we should have. Like, I was basically looking to have far more self-contained episodes in the final season, with each episode feeling more like a mini movie, like an anthology series. Like, I was looking, I guess, to have something more along the lines of what we have in Fear the Walking Dead with 6th and 7th season, where each episode focused on one character. So I was expecting, or I feel like that would have been the best thing to do, to have each episode of the season kind of wrap up each character's storyline, more or less. It doesn't mean you have to do all of it only one character's story per episode, or you couldn't include other characters, but I feel like there was a way to structure the season in a way where you could have done something like that, where in episode 1 you have a little bit more of a focus on a certain character and you wrap up their story, Then in the next episode, you start wrapping up another character story, but maybe a couple of episodes later, you actually wrap it up. Well, in that episode, you have also another character with some focus, and you wrap up their story. I feel like that would have been the best way to do it, because right now, depending on whatever the fates of certain characters are going to be, I feel like kind of unsatisfied with the endings, I guess, for characters like Lydia or Aaron or Jerry or Ezekiel or Rosita or Eugene. Like basically the characters who are not getting their spin-offs, I feel like I will end up disappointed or not as satisfied. Especially because for certain characters like Aaron or Gabriel or Jerry, we didn't really get as much substance for their characters in general. That's why I actually really enjoyed that episode of season 10C, which was focused on Aaron and Gabriel, because like I said in my review to that episode, which you should check out, that episode actually made those characters feel like main characters to me, because until that point I still felt about them as if they were side characters, but they got to the main status with that episode. And for somebody like Jerry and his actor, who is actually credited in the credits of the show, he doesn't really feel like a main character. Like, there's not really much substance to his character. We haven't really gotten an episode which focuses on him, which is a shame because I really like him. But yeah, again, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked. The point that I was trying to make is that as good as this episode was, it still could have been far better. And also, because I'm recording this in the week where we don't have a Walking Dead episode, so it's been a week since I watched the episode, I've kind of forgotten the general flow of things for the episode, so I am going to be going through my notes as I'm reviewing the episode. I think I did that for the previous couple of episodes anyway, but yeah, that's why we're going through my notes this early on in the video. So yeah, the first thing that I've written down is I love this theme. I don't know what that is. Oh, I know. I remember. Never mind. In the beginning of the episode, when we had the narration by Judith, we were hearing the theme which played in Michonne's final episode, which was kind of, I think it was called like Requiem for a Dream or something, or at least it sounds like a song that is called Requiem for a Dream. And I really liked that theme then, because it felt like a different version of the main theme of The Walking Dead, so I kind of liked it a lot, and I liked the inclusion of it once again in this episode. That was pretty cool. Next thing I've written is, she gave him the fucking hat, and that is obviously in relation to Judith passing on the baton of the hat to RJ, which is, I guess, pretty cool foreshadowing for this episode with what happens later on with her. But yeah, pretty cool. I like that he got the hat, basically making him finally the Grimes again. And passing on the baton as the next one who's probably going to get shot at some point. Next thing I've written is, not yet anyway. We are not a we. That is in relation to the scene early on in the episode where Negan offers to Maggie for them together to go and kill Pamela and not have everybody else as well, because they could be a detriment. And he refers to himself and Maggie as a we, as a team. And what I said here with it saying not yet anyway, it's a reference to the spin-off. The next thing written is The Whisperers Reborn, and that is in relation to the scene where Lydia, Aaron, Elijah, and Jerry were walking through the herd, and they were actually whispering like the fucking Whisperers. Like, I really fucking love what the show did with the Whispers. To this day, even with the faults that I still have for season 10, I love how they have continued to use things in relation to the Whisperers, like getting into the herds far more and using the whispering far more. Like, that is so fucking cool. I love that. It's like it's such a cool thing. I love that I am on the side I love that the good guys are the ones using it and I can root for it because it's such a cool concept. But before we were facing with the bad guys who were doing that shit. It was cool in Fear the Walking Dead, it was cool with the Whispers, and it's cool with the Walking Dead and our main characters doing it, so because we can root for them. Like, it was cool earlier in the season as well. Like, it's kind of shocking how much it's actually being used this season when you think about it, but it's cool because it shows that our characters learn from their experiences. Next thing I've written is, and yet I smile. That was a great scene. You all are better than me. So yeah, this is a little bit of a mouthful, but basically it's in relation to the scene where Negan and Ezekiel were talking about why Negan decided to sacrifice himself for the group and sacrifice his life for everybody. And Negan basically said that our guys, everybody else, is better than him, and that if they think that he doesn't know that they have not been paying attention. And I feel like that's kind of a little bit of a meta line as well, because it's kind of telling to the people who still are not on board as with Negan as a good guy or part of the main crew or whatever. Basically, he's chastising them for not noticing his redemption. So I really like that. And I also love the references from Ezekiel's side with his "yet I smile" thing. Which is basically describing his character who, despite facing a lot of hardships, he still tries to have a positive outlook on the world. And that's basically what he says to Negan. That's why he's not gonna fucking kill him or put him in jail or whatever, because his hope that Negan would do something good with the days, that he has, and the freedom that he has, is a hopeful thing. He prefers that than him dying and not doing that. And I did really like that. Plus, it was a cool reference to a cool moment from his previous appearances on the show. And now we're getting to the fucking elephant in the room. No, Lydia, no, fuck me. Cassidy is so good. She really sold that bite. Yeah, I definitely did not see that coming. Lydia was not even on my fucking radar for getting bit or being in any danger whatsoever. Like, she was one of the characters that I thought was safe. Especially because in the trailers, I'm pretty sure it made it seem that Elijah was probably gonna get bitten or be in danger of the walkers. I did not even fucking consider that Lydia could get bitten. But that's why that moment fucking shocked the fuck out of me, and I really, really liked it. And then the following scene where they have to cut off her arm. I mean, I fucking love Cassidy. She's such a good actress. She's one of the best actresses and one of the best additions to the show. In recent seasons, for sure. And it would be a shame if we're not gonna really see her after the main show's end. That's gonna be the case for a lot of the characters like Jerry, Aaron, and the like, but especially her for me. Though there is hope that maybe she could appear in the Darrow spin-off, because she has been seen in France at the same time as the show, Darrow show has been shooting, so I'm hoping. But yeah, she really sold the emotion in the scene afterwards, and that was the one little bit of substance in the episode that I actually felt. Her emotion in that scene and the way she sold it and everything. I really, really like that. And even Jerry and Aaron were also really good as well. That was really, really well acted, emotional scene, and I loved it. It was probably my favorite scene in the whole episode. So that's for sure. So yeah, let's continue. The next thing I've written down is, I swear, if the walkers used the .50 caliber gun, did it actually? And that is obviously in relation to the scene where a variant walker grabs the jeep that two Commonwealth soldiers are driving in and trying to lead a herd away with. He grabs the truck and gets into it, and then the camera cuts away and we hear gunshots. So it's not clear whether it was the soldiers' gunshots or whether the fucking walker used the 50 cal. And I feel like it's implied that it did, but I don't know. It's still kind of cool to think about. Maybe that may be a little bit of a jump the shark moment. I'm not 100% sure, but it's still a cool thing to think about anyway. Next thing I've written is Jerry is so dead. And that is because, I mean, to be honest, he has been so close on the verge of death so many fucking times in the last 3 seasons, basically ever since Angela Kang showed up. And even before that, I feel like they kind of played it up a couple of times. But especially since Angela Kang showed up, he has been on the verge of death so many times that it feels like it's gonna happen fucking eventually. Especially with the talk of King Jerry a couple of episodes ago. That definitely makes me feel like it's going to happen. And with his words as he was leaving the RV in which they were hiding from the walkers, with him saying, "I will find Elijah, I will find Juice and Luke, and I'll get to you as well." Like, the way he said it, with the sentiment that he said it, it really felt like one of those moments in the Walking Dead universe where a character says, "I got this," and they don't got this, basically. So I'm very worried about him, because we also don't really see him in the trailers, so I'm worried about that. But yeah, I don't know. I would be sad, definitely. I definitely would be sad, but I also would be annoyed if we don't really actually get some bigger deaths in the final episode, but I wish he would have gotten more screen time before his death, if he does actually end up dying. And funny I'm mentioning that, because the next thing that I've written down in my notes is, I'm so worried about everybody dying. And yes, I know that characters like Maggie, Negan, Daryl, and Carol most likely, and Judith are not gonna die. But there is a bunch of other ones which I do enjoy, and I don't want them to die, so we don't know. We never know. Next thing I've written is, that slide was so sick. And that is in relation to the scene where everybody arrives at the Commonwealth and they have a shootout with some of Pamela's lackeys. And as they get attacked, our group gets attacked, a bunch of our characters slide underneath the fucking benches that were set up for the court scene. And one of those people was Ezekiel, and that was really, really cool. And by the way, 2 things that I have not written down, but I do want to bring up. I really like when Princess has a little bit of a talk with Mercer, and she asks him whether he is ready to take Pamela down, and he says, "Yeah." That's a really fun moment. I really love that. But I didn't write down anything about it, maybe because I was too entranced in the show. And the other thing is that I felt a little sad that Tyler Davis died in that scene, in that shootout. But to be honest, it was again one of those super telegraphed Walking Dead deaths where a character is like, "I'm fine," boom, to the head. Like, remember how Marco died in episode 16 of this season, I think it was? Like, he stands up and boom, a bullet through the head. It was one of those moments where a character is like, "I'm okay," and he dies. And then the next thing I've written down is, "Bitch, you're so dead." And obviously that is in relation to Pamela shooting Judith. And I fucking love that whole scene when she shoots her, because I love the shocked face that Maggie has when she sees that Judith got shot. She was like, "Oh my god, no, the baby that I helped, the kid that the baby that I took out of Lori just got shot." Like, the shock in her face was really good. And I love how everybody afterwards just came out and fucking started shooting at Pamela, with like Negan running, Maggie running, Carol, Daryl, everybody. Like, that was really fucking cool. It was like she pressed their fucking rage button. It was so fucking satisfying. And then she had the audacity to scream, "You did this!" No, bitch, you did this, and you're gonna die. The next thing I've written down is they are officially fucking climbing. And I'm surprised that we actually didn't write down more things in relation to the variant walkers getting inside the Commonwealth. And we actually got a decent amount of fucking shots of the Commonwealth, which, why the fuck did we get that earlier? Like, why? Was it so hard? One shot. One fucking shot we could have had in episode 1 of the season, or episode 2, or episode 3, or whatever, to kind of give us an idea of how the Commonwealth looks, what the geography is. Because now we know that it's kind of on like a hilly area. And we know how the wall looks like, how big it is, how well defended it is, and everything. We have a little bit of an idea. So now on a rewatch, it definitely will feel better because I kind of get an idea of what the Commonwealth is actually like. But why didn't we get that earlier? It's so infuriating. But yeah, that whole sequence with the variant walkers was really fucking cool. Again, I didn't really write down much about it because I guess I was too focused on enjoying it. But I love how the walker is straight up climbing. And I love how the face of the soldier, the Commonwealth soldiers there, as he's seeing the walker climb, is like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, his face is like, you've gotta be joking. And I fucking love it. And I love when he says, they're climbing over the walls. Like, I feel the dread of realizing that the walkers are climbing over the walls now. And that even inside walls, you're now not protected from them. Because they can get in. Like, this is changing the game fucking completely, and I'm here for it. And I really love that. Other than that, the sequence afterwards with him ending up opening the door for the walkers is a little bit dumb Walking Dead convenience. But there's a little bit of a detail with the walker that climbs up to his guard tower, which some of you may have not noticed, but if you look carefully, you can see that the walker goes out of his way to knock the helmet and the mask that the soldier is wearing so he can get a clearer bite onto him. He goes out of his way to do that. He's not just lunging to grab him and bite him, he's knocking his head around as well. And I love that because it shows that the walkers actually are smarter, are variants, and I love that. And then the next thing I've written down is, what the fuck indeed? And that is obviously in relation to the scene where Negan sees the walker climbing, although it's not as kind of dramatic as they would kind of make it seem like it is, because the walker literally just climbs on like a fucking card, or a bunch of like he like climbs on a carriage or something. I don't know, but they kind of make it seem like the walker fucking climbed the fucking roof, like what it did in episode 19, I think it was. But I did love that our main crew also noticed that, and that they were shocked about it. And I just love that Negan got to have the F word like that. Like, that was a really, really cool moment and a very justified fuck. And I really like that. And yeah, the next thing I've written is, man, I forgot to write here because I was too excited. Like, whenever I write, it's really interesting how both writing a lot of notes and writing few notes is kind of a signifier of how much I enjoyed an episode. And the final thing that I wrote down is, Daddy, that broke my heart. That is in relation to the scene where, as the herd approaches, our guys from two sides, I think it was, they managed to get Dario to get into an alley, which I instantly thought of the fucking Last of Us, with Dario having to go through the alley carrying a girl who has been shot or hurt in any way. It just reminded me of The Last of Us so much. But her saying daddy to Dario just broke my heart because she thinks that she's seeing Rick. And I hope that we get some kind of a glimpse of Rick in the final episode. I think the best we're gonna get is a post-credit scene, but considering they're also probably gonna want to tease Isle of the Dead, the Dario France show, and the Rick and Michonne show, it's gonna be hard to kind of have post-credit scenes applying to all of them, but I do believe that we are gonna be getting a post-credit scene for the final episode. It would be weird not to. But yeah, that's basically all I have written about this episode. Overall, I enjoyed it. In relation to other episodes in the season, I think it was fine. Like, it was action packed. It was fun. I had a lot of enjoyable moments in it, and the substance for some scenes was there, but overall, just like for the rest of the season, it just wasn't largely. But it was a fun episode in relation to all the episodes. It was a good one. So in terms of a rating for it, I am going to give it a 9.4 out of 10. I think it was a good episode, but like, even if most episodes of the season were this good, I think we still would have gotten a pretty good final season. Still wouldn't have the substance which I'm craving, but it would still be better than what we got. But most of the episodes are just slow filler, as is tradition with The Walking Dead. But yeah, what did you guys think about this episode? Comment those down below, let's have a discussion about this. And also, before in this video, I just want to give a huge shout out to my currently 5 patrons on Patreon. Omar Bridgman, Deadpool, Corby Dead, S11E23, and Soap93160. Thank you guys for your support, I really appreciate it. It really means a lot to me that you have decided to support me, you have continued to support me for such a long time. Hope you continue to enjoy my content and continue to support me going forward. Thank you very much. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, check out in the description to my Wattpad, where I post my stories, because in addition to doing all these videos on my channel, I'm also a writer. And if you don't enjoy my stories or simply enjoy my videos, you can head over to my Patreon or to my Ko-fi account, where you can pledge your support and help get the channel going, help support me so I can keep writing the stories you enjoy. But if you don't want to do it, that's completely fine. You can still help me out in other ways, like liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and especially sharing this video with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And I think it's pretty much it for this video, so hopefully I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye!